Hey everyone, welcome back to another Talking Head video. Today we're talking about seasons. So in my last Talking Head video, I discussed the idea of having channel seasons as a way to fund content here on the channel. Essentially, I broke down what it costs me to create content on YouTube, the tools and subscriptions that I use in order to put out these guides and everything for you all. And since I no longer monetize here on the channel, I asked hey, do you guys think it would be reasonable to try to raise the funds to cover those costs so that when I'm creating content here on YouTube, I'm really only having to invest my time and my energy and my effort. And overall, the reaction to that was pretty positive. There were several people who thought it was a good idea. Several said they would donate. Several said they would consider donating. And so I wanted to go ahead with that in mind after thinking it over and trying to figure out, well, what would that all mean? What would it look like? What's a good time frame? All that kind of stuff. I wanted to go ahead and move forward with that idea, set it up, and get it rolling, because I know that you don't just put up a fundraiser or something and then it's ready to go in one day. At least not for something like this, right? With a channel of my caliber. So we would need some time to make the funding happen if it was actually going to happen. So in today's video, what I want to do is show you Dragonflight Season 1, which is the first season that we're trying to fund here on the channel. And I want to introduce you to the season, what it's about, how long it is, how long it's gonna run for, how much money we're trying to raise, what sort of content's there, all that kind of good stuff. So I'm gonna try to stay on point and keep this as short as I can make it while still giving you all the information that I think you need. And with that being said, we're gonna hop right into it here, and we're gonna switch over to the campaign page. So I got two big things I want to tell you real quick before we start any other details here. First, this is on Indiegogo. This is an absolutely reputable site up there with Kickstarter, Patreon, and stuff like that for crowdfunding and creative works support. So super good, super trustworthy website. Just in case you hadn't heard of it, it is typically used more for larger scale things like indie game projects or albums and that kind of stuff. So this is a little kind of small scale for what's the site is typically used for, which may be why you haven't heard it. And we're here because I can't do this on Patreon. So Patreon won't let me set up a funding goal where I can say, hey, we're trying to raise this amount of money, and that's it. It will only let me set up subscription-based supporter options. And I'm not trying to ask you guys to support me on a monthly basis or anything like that. I just want to raise the funding for the season. And then when we're done raising the money for the season, we're done. And then the next season that comes along, we'll raise money for that one and carry on. So that's really all I'm looking for. But that's why we're here on Indiegogo. The second thing I want to cover for you is the amount of funding that we're trying to raise. So you can see here that I am targeting $300 as the number that I want to try to raise here. But you will see that the goal is $500. Now, the reason for this is the minimum goal you can set on Indiegogo is $500. Okay, so I didn't have a choice. I don't need $500 to fund the season, but that's what I had to put the goal at in order to make it work. That being said, this is a flexible goal, which means that the campaign will receive all the funding even if we don't hit the goal. So if we only raise the $300 to cover the season, we will still get it. The season will still be funded. We do not have to raise $500. I do have plans in place if we raise more than the $300, and we'll get to that later. But that's not the goal, okay? So that's why we're on Indiegogo, and that's why there's a discrepancy between what I'm trying to raise and what the goal is. So, that out of the way, let's talk about Dragonflight Season 1. So Dragonflight Season 1, the idea here is to help fund 6 months of ad-free World of Warcraft class and add-on guides. Primarily, that is the content we are trying to fund. That's the content I'm trying to make. The 6 months are going to run from November 2022 through April 2023. So if we fund this season for that 6 month period of time, I'm committing to making World of Warcraft content, and basically will cover the cost for me to do that during that time. And then I'll just be investing my time and my effort and energy into creating that content. So when you're here, you can see we're already a third of the way to the goal, which is pretty awesome. So we just got $200 more to raise and the season will be funded. You'll see that there are 58 days left, so this is about a 2-month campaign. It'll basically finish up right before November, right in time for the season to actually start. There are no options, it's just make a contribution, whatever you can. There's no perks or anything like that associated here on Indiegogo, but I am letting you know that I do have 6 perks available. It's all the same perk, but I have 6 of them. Okay, so we'll talk about the perk itself later on. Just know that the first 3 people to donate $25 or more to the campaign, and then the top 3 contributors overall will all receive a perk. So the first 3 that contribute $25 or more, and then the top 3 contributors overall. So if you're like the 9th contributor, but you're number 1 in contributions, you'll get a reward. If you're just the minimum 25, but you're the first person to do it, then you'll get one as well. Okay? And we'll talk about that a little bit later when we talk about what all's going into the season. So on this page, I do have a nice little 4-minute promo video that you can check out here. Everything on this page is designed so that if someone randomly stumbles upon this, it'll read like I'm talking to them and not somebody from my channel. So there's a nice little promo video on here. It's a little snippet of extra content from me that you can check out if you want. I added some promo videos, some examples of my previous work. And then I've got some pictures on here which they kind of screwed up, but we're going to go over them. I'm going to show them to you a little later in the video because they actually detail what's in the season and also what the funding is covering. If you scroll down here a little bit, there's a story tab. You know, who am I? Why am I raising money? How does your contribution help? What are the risks and challenges? And what are other ways you can help? Again, I wrote this for someone who just stumbles upon the page, but I think it did a pretty good job. So, you know, if you want to read some written content from me, then I'd encourage you to check it out and let me know what you think. There's also a FAQ section here where I answered a couple of what I thought would be the most common questions, like, you need $300. Why is the campaign goal $500? I already explained that to you guys, but I wanted that to be on here. Okay? So that's basically what we have going right now. You are welcome to head over to the discussion page where I had a spam comment here, and you can ask questions if you want to. If I post any updates, they'll be here as well, but it's a pretty small campaign, so I don't know that we'll need updates and a bunch of crazy stuff. So what I want to do in the next section of this video here is show you those slides of what's actually going to go into a season and what the funding is going towards. Okay, so we're going to pop this open. I've got this here. These are the images that they kind of screwed up for me. And I think I have this. Give me 1 second. I think we're going to move me up here because I'll be out of the way. Okay. So what's in a season? So a season is content scheduled for every month based on a flexible roadmap. So what you're seeing right here is the roadmap for each month in the season. And there are 6 months in the season. So when you see 1 live stream, it means in that month, okay? 6 live streams over the course of the season, right? So hopefully that makes sense. So let me break down the content for you here and elaborate a little bit. So beginner guides, obviously this is what you guys are here for. I like making them, you like having them. It's a big, huge part of what makes this channel what it is. So my goal is for every month in the season to put out 2 beginner guides. One will be one that I pick from a class or specialization that I'm playing, I enjoy, I'm excited about, I want to make the content for. And the other choice each month will be from one of those contributors that I mentioned earlier. So if you are one of the first 3 people to donate $25 or more, then you will get to choose one of the beginner's guides that gets made during season 1. If you are one of the top 3 contributors overall, you will get to choose one of the beginner's guides that's being created during season 1. Okay? If you happen to be both of those, then you'll get to pick 2. So that's the way that I thought that I could just kind of say thank you and have a reward that was part of the season, and just a thank you for contributing to the campaign without going too crazy or, just doing something that's really unrealistic. So I think being able to pick half of the beginner's guides that get created during the season is pretty solid. So there should be 12 beginner's guides total in season 1, 6 from me and 6 from the contributors. Okay, I also mentioned that live streams most likely would not be a huge part of what I was doing with World of Warcraft in the future, just because in the time I do one live stream, I could record like 4 or 5 videos, and that's way more content for YouTube. However, I do have a goal to have at least one long, I'm talking like 4 to 7 or 8 hour long live streams each month, where the emphasis is on Q&A, troubleshooting, doing stuff that you can participate in, whether that's, hey, we're gonna go questing, if you want to get together in group quest or tackle some rare, or if you want to go kill a world boss, or maybe we want to run some dungeons together or do a holiday event, or whatever it is. And also just talking about, WoW news. So I really want the big live stream each month for the seasons to be focused on, it's like the AMA kind of thing. Like, you can boot up the live stream and be like, hey, Seth, I was trying to do this build here and I'm running into this problem. Can you go test it out? And then I can plug it in and be like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And it's just kind of an open place for you guys to come. And basically, anytime I've tried to learn something or get better at something, I've always found that it's more helpful to be able to talk to someone and to be able to interact with someone live, as opposed to trying to find all the answers through web searches or textbooks or whatever. So I kind of want to provide that for you guys. Maybe you're working on a weak aura that you're modifying from one that I made, and you're like, man, I really wish I could just pick his brain about this for a minute. Then we could do that. And then along with that, I really want these live streams to be hangouts where we get to bond and talk to each other and chat, and that kind of stuff, because that's really where I get to know you guys. I get to know some of you from the comments, but a lot of you, we get to talking about random stuff in the live streams. Hey, what movies are you watching? What books are you reading? All that kind of stuff happens in the live stream. So I don't want to lose that, but I'm also not going to, commit to overdoing it. So I have the idea for the one big live stream every month within the season. So 6 of those kind of live streams throughout season 1. Next, one UI or add-on content video. So this would be a video for weak auras, OPI, UI, add-ons, whatever the case may be. There's going to be at least one high quality UI or add-on video per month as well. So this may be the rotation helpers for weak aura. This could be, putting out OPI rings. This could be showing you guys, hey, here's the 3 best looking map add-ons that I have, and this is what I think about them if you want to choose one. It could be anything like that. And if you guys know me, the chances of it being one video per month are very low, but I put it at one video per month because, especially in the case of like the rotation helpers, depending on the complexity of the rotation, those could actually take a long time, and I might only get to one in a month. But it may be that with 3 rotations that, only use like 5 abilities a piece, I could pump out like 3 of those in a month, right? But I just want to keep the expectations kind of normalized here. And that's why I said that this is based on a flexible roadmap. So it could change based on real life or based on, the difficulty of what I'm doing in that category. It may be that I've got extra time for an extra live stream or something, you know what I mean? Or maybe everything happens, people get sick, this, that, and I can't do any live streams, right? So this is a flexible roadmap. Okay, and then the last piece of the puzzle here for the seasons is text guides and links. I kind of thought about this for a while, and I was trying to think, like, what value could I bring that wasn't some insane thing to add on top of all the other stuff that I'll be doing, but still would be like useful for you guys. And so I'd already talked about going to wago.io to put up my weak auras so that you guys can import them from me. Same thing with the Opie rings. So that's something I definitely want to do here. But I also thought that having a repository, setting up my Google Drive for the channel with a folder and some subfolders and stuff where you could go in and you could just access a link to the Wowhead talent build that I used on such and such video without having to dig through YouTube and go to the description and everything to get it might be useful, along with some notes for that talent build where I can say, you know, hey, like you absolutely need to take A, B, C, D, and then these two are flex options, and you could totally skip this if you want. Not anything anywhere near as in-depth as the video guides, because then I'm just doubling up on content and the amount of effort and time that it takes. You know, I'm not making a video guide and a text guide, but I am kind of making a video guide and maybe sort of like a light version of the cliff notes for that guide as well. So this is what's in a season, okay? 2 beginners guides, 1 big live stream, at least 1 UI or add-on content video every month, and then also text guides, links, and the uploads to wago.io to support all that so that you get a nice, big, in-depth, Tsetzuko style, every little thing covered package. And that's every month. So season 1 is 6 months. So multiply that times 6, and that's what we're looking at. So the last thing that I want to cover with you guys here is what are we funding? So I kind of mentioned this in my talking head video. I broke everything down for you, but I wanted to show you our goal is $300, and these are kind of the milestones along the way. So if we only hit $80, which we already did, then the season would not be considered funded. Just to be clear, if we only hit $80, which means that everything from this stuff would no longer really be on the table, and it would all just come down to whatever I feel like doing, I guess. Which is still going to be WoW content, but it's a matter of motivation, I guess. Reciprocal motivation. But at $80, that covers 6 months of the WoW subscription. 6 months covers... $140 covers 6 months of Canva Pro, which is literally what you're looking at right now for this presentation. At $200, we cover 6 months of Morning Fame, which I use for YouTube search results and to kind of help me with the YouTube algorithm. At $250, that's going to fund a purchase of the expansion for me, base edition. At $300, we're going to cover the 6 months of wago.io gold, which allows me to post clean links for you guys on there. And I also fund 6 months of clipping magic, which is another tool that I use for my thumbnails, just like Canva Pro. Anything above and beyond $300 is going to be used for video or live stream swag. So stuff to help the stream. I used to have a green screen, but it messed with my glasses and some other reasons, so that's why I don't use one. But anything over the $300 would go towards, you know, making the background a little bit cooler, or possibly getting some World of Warcraft tees instead of these plain boring ones that I wear, or a hat or props or whatever. Just basically, after $300, I'm going to reinvest it into stuff that's fun, but is still something you're going to see and get to experience as well. Okay, I didn't want to like fund the next season now, because who knows? Things could change between now and the end of season 1. You know, maybe we want to drastically up the quality of the stream, or maybe I don't need to purchase WoW Dragonflight at that point, so the amount of funding that we need to raise changes, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I didn't really want to get into funding more time with more money, and I thought that basically after we hit our goal, after that, I'll just try to figure out stuff to do that'll make the streams and things more fun and maybe a little more visually interesting. So that's what we're covering. That is going to be Dragonflight Season 1 here on the channel. Now, listen, I need to finish this all out with one very important message, okay? And that is, if you cannot help contribute, please don't force yourself. Please don't feel like you have to. Don't think that I'm going to think any less of you if you don't. Okay? If you're sitting there thinking, maybe I could do it, maybe not. Maybe if I don't do this, I can do, just don't. Just don't do it, okay? At the end of the day, if we don't fund season 1, we just don't fund season 1. You need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of your family. You need to take care of all that stuff first, okay? And you guys are supporting me like crazy without the monetary involvement, and I definitely appreciate that. So please, please, do not feel like you have to contribute. Don't feel guilty if you don't contribute. But if you have a lot of money lying around, hook me up. I gotta end it, on some kind of a laugh there. I want you to take that very seriously, okay? It means a lot to me that you guys take care of yourselves first. This is something I do for fun, creatively on the side. It's great. It benefits you guys. I get to have fun doing it. Everything else. But at the end of the day, if this doesn't happen, my life goes on. All right, I play a different game, or, I make content sporadically or whatever. So you do what you need to do to take care of yourself first. And if you have and you can, then contribute. And we're all good. I told you, I'm just a normal guy that makes World of Warcraft for fun. I'm not that much different from most of you that are watching. So I get it. I understand. And that's all there is to it. So thank you guys for watching this video. I'm super excited about Dragonflight Season 1. I think I've put together a pretty solid package, all things considered, of the amount of money I'm trying to raise and all that kind of stuff. I really am excited about what's in a season and bringing that to you guys. And I hope we can fund it. I really do. So either way, thanks for being so supportive of the videos up until now, that we got to the point where I felt like this was a possibility. Thank you for your continued support of the videos. I hope you've enjoyed this one just as much as the others, and I'll see you on the next one.